the back seat, right? So if you get rear-ended, you're going to have a claim, but your kids in the back, they may also have a claim. And so obviously we have to represent the children in their own separate claim in your lawsuit. And it's got different sets of rules, depending on what kind of case they have.
I guess I always assumed when there was like a car accident, it was kind of like one claim, one case for everybody. So really each individual person gets their own and the parent files each of those, right?
Right. So if there's damages, there's going to be an individual claim, okay, subject to the available policy limits for the at-fault insurance policy. And then,
in the horrible situation that parent dies or something, then who files it for the kids?
Yeah, so we would have to, we hate those kind of cases.
Right.
But in that case, we have to do some probate work. There'll be, a personal representative of an estate of the parent.
Gotcha.
And they will step into the role to, prosecute the child's claim.
Okay. Well, I know that, so there's some different things here. So it depends on if the child is in the front seat versus the back seat, and there's different kind of ways that you handle each of those. First of all, what kind of is considered a child? Is that under 18 or what?
Yeah. So any kind of minor in South Carolina, it's going to be a minor claim, okay? And then there's going to be different sets of rules signed up. So, if when somebody calls the lovely law firm, the first thing that we do, we try to figure out who's the custodial parent, okay? If there's any kind of like child custody issues or anything like that, because they're going to have to be appointed as the personal, the guardian ad litem of their child, okay? And they will basically step into the shoes of the child and prosecute their claim, okay? So we'll get the judge to approve that parent to serve that role. If there's an argument about it, sometimes there might be a divorce going on or some other kind of issue going on, or maybe their
grandparents.
Grandparents could be involved. So we would sometimes we have to get an attorney involved, a unbiased attorney, third party, just to step in and be that guardian role to prosecute the claim.
Okay. Do we also handle kind of like car seat failures and stuff like that when it comes to accidents?
So yeah, when we're talking about car wrecks, you have your soft tissue cases, and with children it's real hard because doctors don't want to give them X-rays especially if they're young, right? And it's hard for a child to articulate what their injuries are. If you and I get in a wreck and our neck's hurting, our back's hurting, we know exactly what to tell the doctor. If you have a 2-year-old who can't talk or is nonverbal, I mean that's hard to figure out.
They're just crying and not sleeping.
Yeah.
And those sometimes are the symptoms of injuries.
Terrible. Yeah.
Right. So we have to deal with those issues, so that's a problem. But also, that's in the car wreck sense. So we're talking also in like a product liability sense. This is kind of getting off topic from what we're talking about, but we don't want our kids in the back seat of these chairback cases. We were fortunate enough to bring one of those, and for an adult, it causes big problems. But for children in the back seat that might be in a in a car seat, if the chairback falls and hits the child, you're going to have big damages. I mean, sometimes the children can pass away. Sometimes they can paralyze the child because the whole force of the wreck is getting transferred through the parent's body, through that seat, back onto the child. So those are very
heard of that. I didn't even know that was
catastrophic claims.
Thing.
Yeah, I know that we brought one before, and I don't know if we've ever actually explained what a chairback case is. Justin probably explains it.
Well, it's
better.
So you have car manufacturers, okay?
Right.
This is kind of getting off topic from children, but
that's okay.
A chairback case is, you have, we examine any kind of catastrophic injury case for potential third-party sources of recovery. And what I mean by that is, if you get hit by an at-fault driver, $25,000 minimum policy limits, but you have catastrophic injuries, well, what's that going to do? It's going to do nothing for you. So what the lovely law firm investigation team does is we go out and we look for, was there tire tread failure? Was there a roof crush? Was there a seat back failure?
Gotcha.
Different product liability cases that we could pursue against the manufacturers of these automobiles.
Okay.
So so to answer your question, going back to what is a seat back failure? These seat backs are manufactured by usually overseas. They're assembled, if they're assembled here, wherever the manufacturer does, but they put them all together. They put these back onto the roadway, right? And there's several tests. 60 Minutes have done videos and investigations about this. But there's such a low standard to meet to get these things put into these vehicles that at low speed, your seat should never fail, right? You should be held in place. Your occupant should be held in place. There should not be any catastrophic injury on low speed crashes. But what happens is the little hinges in the seat backs are made so cheaply to save money for these automobile manufacturers that these low speed crashes create catastrophic injury when the seat back fails. And so, and again, all that pressure is being absorbed through the body, breaking the seat back, going to the back seat. So if your children are in the back seat, that's bad news.
Yeah.
Okay. It's bad news for you too, because you lose your seatbelt. Okay.
Right.
And you're getting flown through the car. And I mean, it can create these catastrophic injuries that we investigate.
That's terrible. Well, and then, you know, going through the process, they have unfortunately been in the car accident and they go to kind of file things. You know, does the insurance kind of handle children differently than they would an adult?
Well, again, they're going to look at, say, hey, what are the damages? Okay. And so that's where we go back and we say, hey, is your child able to go to the doctor? Are they getting treatment? Are they able to articulate what the injuries are? Is that being diagnosed by their pediatrician? See, a lot of times they'll say, oh, they'll come in and we know they're hurt, right? But they'll say, hey, they'll tell Sarah, hey, my children's fine. Now, when Sarah reports that to me, I say, no. They need to get into the pediatrician, get a second opinion, and let's make sure these kids are okay.
Yeah.
Because we have to, in order to get full value for the child's claim, you know, they have to have treatment, have to have damages.
Well, and thank God you asked them to do that, because, you know, we want to make sure these kids are okay too, and we may not know, you know, right off the bat like that. So.
Absolutely. And if you settle the claim, it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
When life gets ugly,